All right. Real quick, I kind of want to do another chewing the fat sesh, something that we've been kind of doing in between arcs in our online D&D campaign. So um, this one's going to be a little different. Normally, I kind of reveal some of like the setting, rather like the places that in the arc that maybe didn't get visited, places like that. But it's going to be a little different. I can't quite reveal all the other locations because the party still is in one nation versus the other. So, unfortunately, this time I'm not going to get to go over all of the cool spots that they missed, but I will say it's at about a 66% hit rate with the locations that were mapped out that they did visit, and that's just kind of how it is. There's no need for them to go to each and every single individual location each and every single time. I have noticed it's been a bit of a decline since the first arc was about 90%, and then the second arc was about 75% of locations discovered, and now this arc is 66% of the locations discovered. But it's just kind of how the map is laid out versus how the storyline is laid out. So it's just, I don't know, kind of interesting to think about. Um, Usually I kind of go over time as well. That's something else that's going to be different. Typically, as far as I'm concerned, roughly 28 days has occurred from the beginning to end of this arc. However, it's kind of up to perspective ish. There is a bit of time dilation when the party travels between the prime material plane and the Shadowfell. So, though they were in the Shadowfell for about a week, they were only gone from the material plane about 6 seconds. So it's kind of up for debate, I guess. But as far as canonically with the party, the beginning to the end of this particular arc took about 28 days. Ran through levels 9 to 12, and yeah, it was definitely a loop as always. Let's talk about some of the combats. Um, just one thing I noted is it was 20 sessions in this arc, and just under half of these sessions will be sessions where combat takes place. Really, there's only let me count it: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eight total combat encounters in the whole 20 sessions, but the big bad evil guy encounter was actually a double session combat. So it kind of led out to 9 of the 20 sessions were combat, which means we kind of I balanced it pretty well, I think, but we're definitely leaning a little bit more on the RP side, which is always fun. But anyway, the combatants in this arc. The party took down an Annis hag and 8 of her Banderhob minions. Well, I say 8, but that was what was on the battlefield. They didn't actually slay them all, as once the hag went, so did they, but still. It was pretty tense for a while. A raiding, slaver raiding party, 12 bugbear soldiers, 1 bugbear caster, and 1 bugbear chieftain. That was a bit of fun. 1 ancient white dragon with, I would say plus this kobold horde, but the kobold horde combat was just kind of narrated as the party had brought plethora of NPCs, a small army, if you will, for the encounter. Still counted towards their losses, but they didn't actually fight any kobolds. But yeah, the ancient white dragon was that was good combat as well. Then moving on down to 6 feral humanoids. Once they had kind of traversed the realm into this Shadowfell, and I would say I want to add 1 phase spider to that as well. but it's like in parentheses. It's like a kind of like just because of how the combat was laid out, and then like the direction that combat took. Like a phase spider appeared in combat for like one round, phased out, and then was never seen or heard from again. So it was weird, but it just happens like that sometimes. You can't forget also the doppelganger, Lucris number two, if you will. It was quite the encounter. And then after that, it kind of ramped up to many bosses and harder almost. Like there was one horde of demonic dolls that gave a party a good run for their money. That was quite entertaining. But aside from that, two greater vampires, Baracus and Nayla, kind of nemesis from a former arc, if you will, finally met their end here. And then after that, it was the big bad evil guy encounter. Basically, I mean, it was Amorphous Perch. This high level once human monk was currently or formerly an ancient greater vampire, as well as his lieutenants, the Hammer, another kind of previous arc enemy, unfinished business type of situation. The Hammer is just a super tanky, high level Dragonborn fighter, vampire spawn rather. And then Mirnoreth, get him. This is a mouthful. So a half dragon, a vocationist, and summoner sorceress of some note. Plus an additional 3 to 5 regular vampires that kind of spawned in towards the end of the big bad evil guy fight. But yeah, Mirnoreth also kind of in the boat of like a previous enemy or ally to the enemies that just kind of left unsaid, unfinished business rather. And it would be worth noting that she was slain not once but twice in a single combat. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, that's all I got for this little chewing the fat session. So hopefully it was as fun to listen to as it was to make. I definitely like playing with these guys. They're above and beyond. Like they keep me on my toes. They crack me up constantly. Like it's just a good batch of dudes to play tabletop role-playing games with. We've even got out there and branched into some like Roll for Shoes. We've done tons of one-shots. We've now got like a side campaign thing going on. So if you're super nerdy and into some D&D shit, tune into my channel. Check it out. I've also got, not only obviously Tater Brain Pod on the YouTubes, but it's also got an audio only version on Spotify. So go check it out if that is something you're into. Follow along on our story with us. It's been a blast. Got a couple more arcs to go, and I'm super excited to get to it. So with that, thanks again for tuning in. Like and subscribe, man. Take it easy.